Hey!
Oh, after 20 minutes of setting up the camera and the flashlight, the lights up here went out a couple of weeks ago, so we got the phone working on there, and oh god, it's sort of like, normally I can get this set up really, really quickly, but every once in a while, there's that time where it's like, it doesn't want to work. It keeps sliding off. Did you take this car in to get a slant built in on the dashboard? Just to fuck with me?
Me? Are you saying I did that?
Yes, I am accusing you of taking the car into the Hyundai dealership.
I did that on purpose so we could take 20 minutes.
Well, you got me, because it's not April Fool's yet.
No, it's St. Patrick's Day.
You got your...
I got my holidays mixed up. Oh, shit.
Oh, no. That's okay. Regardless, I feel drunk. I'm like, usually I'm good at setting up a flashlight. I must be drunk. I'm not even drinking today. But we did get to, before we get into the movie, we did get to go to the remodeled theater here in town. It's the one that's over on the east end of town, Showplace 8. Like, we saw 9 Lives there, and I think the last time I saw a movie there, which you were there too, was that last
Underground.
Underworld.
Underground.
I don't blame you for forgetting that title. I wouldn't blame anyone for forgetting the title of that series, even though there's 5 of them. I still don't blame anyone for forgetting that. But they've since, like, remodeled it. And they actually have a couple times. I remember when I was a real little kid, it was a 4-screen, and then sometime in the late 80s or early 90s, they turned it into an 8-screen. And then they built Parkway not too long after that. But now it's still an 8-screen, but they put like I don't know, like $1 million into the thing or something like that now. So now it's like leather seat, cushiony.
Yeah, we had we were able to lift up the seat, and have what's it called?
Oh, the recliner?
Oh, recliner.
Yeah.
God, I don't know why I spaced out on that word. I was like, what's it called again? Like, I wanted to say decliner. I was like, no, that's not right. Like,
how much alcohol was in the drink you got at the movie theater bar? The $10 alcoholic beverage.
It was $8.99, but...
Oh!
Wait, was it?
What a deal! No, it was $10.
Oh,
it worked out, though, because I used my Stubbs card to get my drink for free.
There wasn't much in it, and I also had it, 2 hours ago, because this movie is 2 hours long.
It's
for no reason.
It is 2 hours long. We had to come back here to... the house to review it here, because the signal wasn't very good out there, so I guess not everything is improved there. But no, it's really, really nice out there. I don't like the fact that it's on the east end of town, so you gotta drive through Bartertown in order to get to it. But really nice bar setup and everything they got there.
When we went there, I was like, there's a bar here? And I was like, it's St. Patrick's Day. Why not?
It's just in there for St. Patrick's Day.
I was like, okay, why not? I'll get a drink. And when I had it, I was like, there's no alcohol in this, and I just paid $10 for it.
That's okay. Well, water would still cost about $10.
It was like club soda, and that was it. I was like...
Isn't that what you wanted, ma'am? Just... You gotta use the $5 of Stubbs rewards in order to get the actual alcohol in the drink. So, what did you think of this movie? I think you might have liked it a little bit better than I did.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, but I was like, I'm getting really antsy, because we had to take, a 10-minute ride home, and we also had to take 20 minutes to set up the stupid camera, and I was like, I'm having this burning question, does he like this movie? And I didn't want to, talk about it when we were on the drive home.
Don't talk to me.
No, we weren't sitting here silently like an angry couple after dinner. What'd you think of what'd you think of the salad you got? It was a little dry. I was like, okay, no, we weren't doing that, but I liked it a lot. I mean,
do you play the games?
No, I told you that.
Me neither.
I told you that. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to know the game references at all. So if you're going to be saying well, actually, this is what happened in the games. I'm not going to know what happened in the games. I've seen my friends play it, but I don't remember.
Did you see the other movies?
No. So I'm gonna be reviewing this movie very objectively.
Uh-huh.
As a movie, as a video game movie. And what I think as a video game movie, I thought it was really good.
Uh-huh.
There's parts where I was like, okay, take that out. Because the whole dad stuff.
Walton Goggins, take it out.
Ew.
Honey, there are children behind us.
No, there wasn't.
No, I mean right now, like
I
may have kidnapped some children on the way home.
Yeah, we kidnapped some children, by the way.
I gotta sell something on my eBay page.
For what?
For cash. Cash only.
Were you
Anyway,
advertising them?
as you were saying about the Tomb Raider
saying.
film.
There were parts, okay, it was like a slow burn for me, like, it was like, for the first, like, 20, okay, so when we went into the movie, I was like, I thought this movie was only 90 minutes, and you're like, no, it's 2 hours. And I was like, really?
Mm-hmm.
The first 20 minutes of this movie I could have taken out, but after, like, the whole action sequences happening, I was just kept on sitting there like, okay, when's the action sequence gonna happen?
You had the fox hunt scene on the bicycle with the little foxtail.
They're trying to establish the fact that she's badass, or like she uses things to her advantage. Like she uses things like she jumped on the truck or something like that. Like she uses like, I don't know,
bicycles.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean like she uses like, she's good with her resources. She's resourceful.
She's got quick reflexes. She's good at thinking on her feet. She's
good at that. She's resourceful. She's doing things like, that's what that whole scene was about. Like, we just realized, okay, now we know that she is able to do these things. And then when it got to that boat scene and everything, like, and her running around, it really felt like a video game movie. But now tell me what you think, because
I think that for a movie based on a video game, it's actually pretty good. When you're comparing it to other video game movies, especially. And I don't think all video game movies certainly have a reputation for being terrible. Not all of them are terrible, but most of them are. You can find some in there that are worth watching. This one, certainly, when you compare it to, like Assassin's Creed or Mortal Kombat Annihilation or any of the Uwe Ball movies, it is absolutely leaps and bounds above that. It feels like, some ambition was put into it, some thought was put into it. You can tell that they really wanted to make a good action movie here, as opposed to just some kind of cynical product to throw out in theaters and slap Tomb Raider on it. And so, yeah, it works. It certainly feels theatrical. It doesn't. You don't need to see this in 3D. Yeah. But we saw it in 3D, and you don't need to see it in 3D. But so it certainly looks and feels like a theatrical experience. It's some of it's probably pretty cool on an IMAX, but when you compare the movie, and I know this isn't fair because I don't think this movie is striving to be as great as this movie, but if you compare it to other video game movies, it's pretty good. But if you're comparing it to which this popped up in my head quite a few times in this movie, if you're comparing it to something like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, it's a low rent version of that.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? This movie, I was forgiving it a lot because I'm like, this is what it is. This is a video game movie. And so I'm like, this movie is what it is. And I forgive it for a lot of that. Because the action
you're the movie's priest.
I forgive you. No.
I forgive you my movie.
No, it's because the action scenes are really, when they were done, they were really good. For me, at least.
For the most part,
you could so?
No, yeah. I thought the stunt work, a lot of the stunt work was. I thought a lot of the booby
running a lot.
Yeah, there was some obvious green screening going on in a lot of that.
It felt like a video game, kind of like this video game cutscene.
I know what you're talking about, and I was thinking that during the movie too.
But I think that's kind of cool for a video. It's giving the fans what they want.
I don't know what the fan base of the game.
Well, okay, maybe I don't. I don't either. But I mean, it's giving it's giving a video game movie.
It does. It is one of those video game movies where whenever an action scene in the movie happens, you can tell how that level would be in the game. It's like I can tell what, like, you know, maybe this would be like a quick time event part, or you can see it in your head how the level would probably play out, the objectives you'd have to do in the certain level. It does feel like that kind of movie, and I think that was certainly the intent of the film. And when everything else is going on, sure, it feels like it cuts. It's like you're watching somebody else play a pretty good video game, where it's sort of like, you know, yeah, this is fine and all, I just wish I could play.
Right.
Not that I'm expecting, like, when is this movie going to give me the fucking controller? Like, not that... No, not like that, but yeah, that's kind of what it feels like a little bit. And when it's getting into the flashback scenes in the movie, that's just filmed straight up like a flashback cutscene.
Yeah, those were the scenes I was like, I could take that away. Like, just take this away.
But then again,
all I want to see is the cutaway scenes of a video game. That's kind of... Because the video game... Like, the video game cutaway scenes that we were talking about earlier... were actually, like, they were done so well where I'm like, I just kind of want to watch this. I don't really want to watch this father-daughter kind of, like, scene. Like, when she finds him in a cave and she finds him... And I'm like, that took, like, 10 minutes. And I was like, all right, I kind of just want to go back to that waterfall scene where she's still, like... She's wearing, like, cuffs.
So you're one of those people who skips past the story when you're playing a video game? I'm not. Well, okay. I mean, like,
No,
I'll skip past the story on Time Crisis 3 because that machine has been in there for 15 years.
As far as the movie goes, yeah, those scenes were kind of like, I'll leave that. Like,
those scenes were just Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Like, there's a lot of similarities between the two movies, from going through into all the booby traps at the end to something that happens to one of the characters is kind of similar. And when there's even a really, really similar part that's a lot like the scene in Last Crusade where Henry Jones is like, oh, he didn't bring the diary with him, and he's like, oh, you did. Like, there's practically I should have mailed it to the Marx Brothers scene in this movie. Like, they kind of almost do that scene sort of verbatim in this. But whatever. Like, if I can watch King Solomon's Mines, I can watch this. So, but for the most part, the movie was entertaining enough. Like, the actors are...
I was going to say the acting was really good.
The actors are competent in their roles. Like, it got more interesting for me when Walton Goggins came into it. Not that his character really made that much sense. I just like him. He's one of those villains in the film. I'll get to that super chat question here in a second.
Thank you.
I saw that. Thanks a bunch, by the way.
Glasses.
And thanks a million, everyone who do that, by the way. Thanks to Matt and everyone over at Reckless Eating for contributing to that as well. That was really, really cool. But Walton Goggins is one of those villains in this movie where if you weren't showing your hand right now about how much of a villain you are... Like, as soon as Lara Croft shows up, like, in his camp, or when he takes her to his camp, he just gives away right away that he's the bad guy.
Yeah, he does.
Like, that he's the villain. Like, I think they're trying to present it like he's just really burnt out. He's been there for about 7 years, and they're sort of presenting it like that. But, like, it's like, dude, if you just acted fine, you probably could have convinced her to help you.
You could have manipulated her easily.
You could have easily manipulated her, but no!
Like, giving away, I'm a villain.
By the way, I killed your dad. Within, like, a minute of meeting her. Like, it's like, okay, I know when he's giving her food, he's like, here, you're hungry, have some food. And it's like, I know he's the villain, because he's played by Walton Goggins. But... I'm like, okay, he's probably going to try to manipulate her or something. No. Like, he's just bad guy.
He takes her purse, or not her purse. Okay, that sounded bad. I meant not purse, her bag. Mm-hmm. She's a woman, therefore she doesn't own She owns a purse.
The makeup or the jungle requires makeup. They are making a movie here.
I meant not her purse, her bag.
Yeah, I know.
I know, but that sounds really bad when
It's fine. I guarantee you, I've seen internet comments. That's not that bad. You accidentally said purse. That's nothing.
I know, but I feel bad for saying it as a woman. Which I was gonna say, I was asking you, like, I was like, okay, I don't want to come off as a feminine.
You're fine. No, you're fine.
Okay,
Like, you were telling me outside the car that you were really, really into the movie because it is a strong female lead character.
Yeah.
And there is nothing wrong with that.
I know, but I didn't want to be called a feminazi.
Oh, who cares?
Like,
Anyone who calls you that, look, there is nothing wrong with going to a movie, enjoying it because, or any movie, because you're really, really liking the lead, or maybe you like a movie because of a lead actor, a lead character, a performance, or in this case, a strong female character. There is nothing wrong.
I just felt empowered.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's not, but I just didn't know how to word it in a way without being called something mean.
Anyone who's gonna give you shit for liking a movie, either because for a reason like that, or because it stars. There are plenty of movies I like because I like a lead actor in it. And if anyone ever gives you shit for something like that, kick them in their micro dick.
Thank you.
So
thank you for wording it like that.
Yeah, no problem.
Because thank you.
Yeah, no, look, I mean...
Because you know the internet way more than I do. So I'm like...
I've been on the internet for a little bit.
I'm like...
No, we have a really great fan base. Like, I rarely see anything like
no,
like
I know
that
we do.
in there,
I'm just saying, like, there might be some troll out there that's gonna...
Probably. It might be me. No, like, I can see the appeal of that in this movie. This is not a bad film at all. I just think the movie is fine. It's okay. There was never a point where I was really loving it, but at the same time, there was never a point I was hating this movie. There is good stunt work. The booby traps in it were fun. There's silly stuff in the movie, of course, because it's a Tomb Raider movie. Like when the camera instantly starts up when she finds it, and her dad's.
It's like, oh, that's been going. That battery's been working for several years.
I've got that camera in there, like that's. But again, whatever. Like I gotta get into a couple of things about this movie. One of which, they do sequel bait this movie.
Oh, they
That's
do.
not a spoiler, because how they sequel bait it is in the trailer.
Yeah, and I feel like that was kind of unfair, like, as far as, like, advertising this movie, because she doesn't wear... Okay, this is why I'm wearing this right now, because my name is Laura, for one thing, and also she wears a braid. She doesn't wear a braid, like that iconic braid, until the last 5 minutes of the movie.
I just thought you were wearing that because you wanted to watch Dances with Wolves when we got home.
Oh my god.
I was wrong, sorry.
Yeah, I want to watch that. Just because of Charles
It's
Rocket.
got Charles Rocket in it, yeah.
For like 10 minutes?
At the most, I think.
Yes, we're gonna watch this. What is it, 3 hours long?
About, yeah. Maybe a little over, I think.
After this 2-hour movie, we're gonna watch Dances with Wolves.
When it gets to, like, kind of iconic imagery that you see of Lara Croft... it's part of a sequel bait sequence that is in the trailer, because the trailer wants to show you a couple of things that are familiar to Lara Croft. But it's the last scene. In fact, the movie ends, it shows the title, boom, Tomb Raider comes on, and then it's this scene, which again is spoiled for you in the trailer.
So, yeah, like, I thought that was kind of unfair to the audience, that they were showing, like, she gets the 2 guns, and she's like, alright, let's do this. She has her braid, finally, 5 minutes before the movie ends, and then Tomb Raider, boom, and it was like, oh, okay.
It wasn't even 5 minutes before the movie ends. It was
like
the end.
2 minutes.
No,
yeah.
It was the end of the movie. It cuts to ending credits after that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, I was like, oh, wow, really? Like, that...
I was like, that's... And then I had forgotten about that from the trailer, but when it came back, I was like, oh, right, what? come on, movie,
Yeah,
really?
she has that iconic image at the very end, and I don't know if they'll do a sequel, but I mean, it was
I don't
kind
know
of
how well
I
this-
thought. Do you think that was unfair to the audience, like, and the fan base?
No, I mean, I don't think there's any. I wasn't ever thinking about that while this movie was on. But then again, I haven't played a lot of these games, so I'm not the right person to ask about that.
I know, but it's like the iconic image. It's like 2 minutes before the movie's gonna.
I think they wanted to make something certainly grittier that is more like that's
Oh,
more like
I have
the
something I gotta mention later.
that's more like the recent Tomb Raider games than like around when like the Angelina Jolie ones came out. What were you saying?
Don't you wish, like, I was thinking this, like, halfway through the movie, I wish this was an R-rated movie, kind of.
Oh.
Were you not thinking that?
There were a couple of times
There
I was
were
thinking
scenes that I was like, this should be R-rated, and
would,
that would have been
they would
really
never
cool.
make this movie an R, but there
No,
were.
I know, because it's a video game movie, but
Well, I mean, not because it's not that necessarily. Even though, like the last Tomb Raider game, I've seen how graphic it kind of gets in a couple of parts, but a video. There are video game movies that are rated R, but like this one.
Oh, there are?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Which ones?
Oh God! Like any of the Uwe Ball ones, really. Like,
Okay, well then, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I don't know a lot of video game movies.
I can't remember if Assassin's Creed.
Okay,
was or not.
yeah, I guess
Silent Hill,
Resident Evil.
Silent
Sorry,
Hill.
I just blanked on that. I had a drink before, so. But even
What
though
did we
it's
see again?
Wait, what are we watching? No, it was never like that. I just had it's St. Patrick's Day. Give me a break. But yeah, I wish it was kind of R-rated. Like, I mean, I know there are, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, there are a lot of R-rated video game movies.
It made me appreciate like this. I know what scenes you're talking about because I was thinking the same thing. Not so much in that like, oh, I wish this was R, but it was reminding me of like, man, if this movie were made in the 80s and it was still like PG or PG-13, they'd be able to show a lot more because the Indiana Jones movies get R, PG and PG-13 and they get way more graphic than this movie. I'm like, man.
It
like,
felt held back.
there are parts that do feel very, very held back, and if it was an Indiana Jones movie, it'd be way more graphic than it is. But there is, I will say this, and if you have epilepsy,
I know what scene you're talking about.
or if you're just kind of sensitive to flashes, because I do have epilepsy, there's a scene in this movie. It's when they're on the boat. Yeah, and you might see this in the trailer where Lara Croft jumps off of the boat and there's waves and everything. There's like just lightning flashing over and over and over and over again, and I had to just like take my glasses off and like kind of shield my eyes. I had to like close my eyes because like I closed my eyes because I could still see like, you know, the flashing, and so I'd be able to tell when it ended, but it just kept going, and I had to like kind of just look away, and I think I looked over at you to see if you were.
I was doing the same thing.
Yeah, you don't see that every now and then. You'll see something like that in a movie. I see it more in something direct to video than I do necessarily something that's theatrical, but this is one where it's like you'll notice it when it comes on, because like me, you'll notice right away if it's something you should keep shielding your eyes from, but just be aware of that before you go see it. Cause
it's the scene where the boat and they crash and there's lightning going off and off again, and I was like, oh god. And I was like, I don't even have epilepsy, and I was like looking at you to make sure you're okay, because
yeah,
I was like, I hope he's handling this okay.
No, yeah, because I always know if it's something I should be looking away from.
I know, but even as someone who doesn't have epilepsy, I was having issues with it.
In the chat, it was asked what I thought the worst video game movie adaptation was.
Assassin's Creed?
No, because Assassin's Creed is one of those. No, Assassin's Creed is one where, like, as a bad movie, I had fun with it. Like, I think I mentioned this in the review at the time. At the very beginning, I think I said, like, I'm going to go lenient on this, because I saw, like, 3 movies that week. And before I saw Assassin's Creed, there was like, why him? And there was something else that was really bad. So at that point, it was like, I just need something stupid and just Michael Fassbender killing people in UFC. So like, when I was watching Assassin's Creed, I was like, this isn't good, but it's kind of doing its job for me right now. It's just sort of just being dumb, and I'm all right with that. So I wouldn't call that the Warcraft. When I was sitting through Warcraft, it wasn't that I was necessarily thinking it was bad, in retrospect at least, but Warcraft is one where I'm like, this movie's just not made for me. Like, I think I've heard from a lot of people who are fans of Warcraft or World of Warcraft that the movie does work really well for them. But me, I got like nothing out of that movie. Oh God, this is a neat. Maybe Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
What about trying to think.
House of the Dead. House of the Dead's
I wasn't
up
thinking
there.
that. I was thinking
House of the Dead's way up there. Silent Hill 2 was
Silent
bad.
Hill 2. That was what I was thinking.
Silent Hill 2 was bad. But
I kind of liked it.
The
but
second one,
I was really high when I watched that.
Well, that's
like
they
off pot. I wasn't like I wasn't on like crack or anything. I was what?
Oh, I'm glad you clarified that. I thought you were on crack and went to go see it.
I didn't see it in theaters. I was just out.
Well, no, they wouldn't let you sneak in your crack.
Well, I don't want people to be like, oh, she's a crack addict. No, like I don't want people to think that. No, it was pot. So,
sure.
Okay.
Why else would you watch Silent Hill 2? No, House of the Dead was worse than Silent Hill 2. Or House of the Dead, the funny version.
Later?
No. House of the Dead funny version was fucking bad. Like Blood Rain. I mean, the most Uwe Ball movies you could list on there. I don't know. Like, probably Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Someone just said, what? Laura's a crack addict? That's what I was worried about.
My wife is not a crack addict.
Jeez, that's what I was worried
I'm the crack addict. Get it right. I think I lost all that weight 5 years ago. I'm kidding.
Oh, don't say that.
All right, this movie.
Yeah, I feel like I've been going on way too long.
No. This movie. You know what? It's probably worth like going to see for about $5.
I'd say it's worth it, but I mean, like Brad mentioned earlier, it's because I felt empowered while watching this because I saw she was just being badass as fuck, and I had this criticism with other like women that were badass, like Atomic Blonde and like I liked Red Sparrow way more than this, but. And Atomic Blonde, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, because I had like criticism where it's like she's just being badass, doesn't have any other character development or anything like that. But in this, I'm like way more forgiving because I'm like, it's a video game movie.
I'm more forgiving about a lot of stuff in this movie because it is kind of a better video game movie. Like, it's not it's not great by any means, but
she's just kicking ass and she's being cool, and I like that. Like,
so you'd recommend it as like to go see like what is like for $5 or something, or would
you're like, all right, wrap this up, Laura. You've been drinking, so. Well, I haven't been drinking.
We got to get to our cut scene, where we sequel bait the next review.
Okay, I only had one drink, so. That's not like I've been drinking, like...
And it wasn't even green, so there was no point in getting it on St. Patrick's Day.
It had lime in it.
No, he hocked a loogie in it.
Ew! I hope to God he didn't. I would recommend it as a... I mean, you heard my opinion on it and why I like it. If you're a woman and you want to watch it, go for it. Like... I think you should watch it if you're a woman or if you want to show your teen girl or someone like...
And if you raid tombs.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, if you're not really into these kind of movies or if you're just a man, I would say...
That's why I'm...
Now I'm going to be told... Yeah, now I'm a feminazi.
That's...
And you just like, whatever, and you're not into these kind of... And you're not into Tomb Raider, I would say skip it.
I mean, I don't know,
Or
like
get it
it's
on
the movie's
Blu-ray.
fine, but it's I don't think you need to rush out to see this. If you miss this in the theater, it's not that big of a deal. But if you do pay about $5 to go see it, I'm sure you'll be fine with that. Overall, like it's one that you could probably get away with just red boxing. But if you do just kill time to go see this, sure, why not? It'll kill a couple of hours. There are better adventure movies like this. There are much worse ones, but as far as video game movies go, again, it's fine. Mm-hmm. So next week,
I will be cosplaying Laura Croft. No,
for a review next week. Wrong review, honey. I can't remember what next week. Well, Dave and I are gonna go see If I Can Only Imagine. I think on Monday we're gonna go see that. That's playing in Springfield. The Apostle Paul movie also comes out next week. I don't know what else. I forget what else comes out beyond that. But anyway,
time to take this braid out because this is fucking annoying the shit out of me. Anyways,
I told you I had to wait till the end of the review to start stripping.
I'm not stripping.
Sorry. Ever since the Smurfs 2 review. All right, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.